Hi, this is Barb Crowley, and welcome to Metaphysics of View Through the Veil. I am so happy to welcome back to the show Tom T. Moore. Tom has been on a couple of times, and he is so interesting always. And one thing Tom has given me that I use all the time now is I ask the universe for the most benevolent outcome. And I'm telling you, it is a fabulous technique. But I don't want to get in too much. I want Tom to tell you everything about himself. So,
Huh.
welcome back to the show, Tom. So
Well,
glad to
thanks for
have
having
you.
me again, Barb.
Yeah,
So,
love it.
so
Love it.
yeah,
And it's election week.
yeah. Well, was.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah, yeah.
let's move on from that. But before we do, of course, we can discuss the outcomes and all. But
hmm
basically, um, I I, uh, I am a telepath, but it's something that every single person watching or listening to this broadcast can do themselves because each of us have the pineal gland in the back of our heads. This, I've been told, acts as an antenna for every type of telepathic thought, uh, feelings, images, you name it. There's many different labels put on what people receive, but it's basically all comes through that pineal gland. So it's something that you can learn to do, just like uh, learning to play chess or whatever, and you just get keep practicing and practicing until you get better at it. And when I started out, I kept saying, I would ask my guardian angel Theo, am I getting better? And he said, practice, practice, practice. And he kept saying that every time. So finally, I gave up asking because that's all he'd ever tell me is
Yeah,
practice,
yeah.
practice, practice.
The thing we love best, right?
So
Yeah.
that's how I got into it. I have a weekly free newsletter. I've done about 900 of them so far. It's my gift to the world.
Mhm.
Um, I uh, open it up. I'm told I'm the only person in the world that opens it up for questions to be sent from to me from anywhere, from anyone in the world. And so I get them from all over. This morning, I was, answering questions for, as an example, a lady in Estonia, and just places all over the place that you would almost not believe, but I
And
do, and people uh, enjoy to learn, uh, and hopefully, uh, one of the things I'm told is I'm supposed to encourage everyone to learn to meditate because in
mhm.
the future every single person on earth will meditate. It's just
Yeah.
down the way.
Wouldn't we be a nicer species if that happened?
Sure will.
Yeah. Now, when you get questions, what you do is you save them all and then you go into a meditation and do you ask Theo or do you?
Well, I tend to, this was just this morning. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I write,
And for those listening, taking their walk and listening to us, Tom just showed me his notebook with all his script in there. It's quite dense, actually.
quite dense. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah.
Yes.
With all of
Uh,
his questions and answers, right?
yes. And of course, naturally, I tell people, hey, look, go to my website, www.thegentlewaybook.com, click on articles and news, and then there's a search box and search to see if your question has already been asked in the past. And that way and maybe it's been asked three or four different ways, but not the particular point that you want to ask. And then you can email me. But do use the search box first. Saves me a lot of time and having to email you back and say, go look at the, go check it out in
Right.
the search box. I think I've answered that question
You've
before.
become almost a research library.
Yeah, yeah, it is, and it's
Yeah.
because I've asked over 30,000 questions,
Hmm.
and so there's a
Yeah.
lot out there. I'm
Mm.
told after I transition, people will be reading this stuff for years.
Yeah, good. And you'll be talking to us from the other side. My guess is the job's not over,
I hope.
but it might be more comfortable.
Hmm.
It might be more comfortable. So what kind of questions were you getting? What you actually before we came on, you were telling me how much time this week you spent in meditation because you had so many questions they had piled up on you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You can imagine tons of questions on the election,
Hmm.
and I asked, for the winter forecast. Uh, there's something really, really big coming up this week that's going to affect everyone, not only in the United States, but the world. A congressional subcommittee called the Oversight Committee is going to have on starting on Wednesday, and of course, by the time everyone uh, listens or watches
Yeah, we're
this
listening
podcast,
2 days after on Friday. We'll start
yeah,
listening.
uh,
Yeah.
but but it's going to be so well covered, you'll be able to go back and they'll have the highlights of this committee subcommittee meeting. They've already announced four major witnesses that they're going to have forth about UAPs,
Hmm.
UFOs, and back engineering illegal websites. I'm sorry, illegal sites.
Hmm.
And so I'm told this information will go around the world and will help open the door uh, for understanding.
Oh,
And
thank God. So they're
so,
going to come clean where they haven't in the past.
oh, I know. Now, they've only announced four major guys, and these are four major people. Lou Elizondo's one who had the number one best-selling book on the New York Times list, and but several different people. But I think maybe they're kind of holding off. They had said that they weren't going to announce anyone because the people would be pressured not to testify.
Oh, I
So I
see. Yeah.
think maybe there are going to be some people that suddenly will appear. We'll see.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. And we can all watch this on C-SPAN kind of thing.
C-SPAN, yep,
Yeah.
C-SPAN, or I'm sure News Nation is
Hmm.
going to heavily cover it. Um, so it'll be out there. Even
Good.
even the mainstream news, the MSMs, will
Yeah, yeah.
will be forced to cover it.
Oh, I hope they come clean. I hope they finally say, we've got to talk about this honestly,
Yep.
with integrity, even when we don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. But this is good. I'm looking forward to this.
So
I'll tell you though, I'm spooked by it. All up in the mountains we have here, up in
mhm.
the mountains here, there are quite a few sightings, and they have a place that has a platform that people can go to, and they go on the platform and they call in the UFOs.
Oh, that's
I
fantastic.
know. And I won't go because I so firmly believe it that I don't want them to come in while I'm there. It's
Why?
like,
It'll be fun, fun, fun.
yeah, yeah, I'm spooked.
It might be somebody from your home planet. You never can tell.
It might be. And then I'm going to want to get on,
Yeah.
get me out of here.
They ain't
There's
gonna
been
have
an
them.
error. There's been
We're
an
we're here
error.
for
The
the length of
duration, huh?
Earth, yeah, the duration of the Earth
Mhm.
experiment. So
Right,
we got
right.
7,000 more years to go, and then by then we're all out of here.
Yeah, people who've done it, they say it works. Excuse me. They say it works that you can actually see them in the background, not in the background, but further out. But
Yeah,
you can see them, they're there. They are responding.
Yeah,
They are
they do.
responding, which is an amazing thing.
I
And
think
and I'll
they
try and
check
get,
you out first to make sure that you're not going to be scared to death.
yeah, well,
Because
you see,
they
they
don't
don't
want to
they
frighten
don't
people,
want me
have you
there.
running for whatever shelter you you
Right, right.
get
I'm
in a
one of these
cave or something.
freeze people, they have fight and flight and freeze. I'm a freeze. So I won't be running, but they'll pick up on the fear. Because I do firmly believe in them and firmly believe it all. So, I do know, yeah, we can have them here. We can have them here. But I also, and this, we're getting a little bit of, but you and I go everywhere. So, but I do believe too that not all other dimensions are benevolent, and some of them, the Sasquatch is another dimension. I think they're benevolent. But there are some others that come through from dimensions that I don't think are.
I
And
have a little different belief on that.
do
I
you?
have been
Good.
told I've been told that there are 12 parallel Earths, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All the different frequencies. And our souls set up that so that uh, the 12 barbers, okay, the 12 barbs are all born at the same minute on all those different parallel Earths, but all at different frequencies. And so the higher frequencies have much easier lives than the lower frequencies do. Now we're on timeline 6, the middle frequency, but as you go down in frequency, the lives get harder and harder. And I'm told that our soul fragments that have to live in that timelines 1, 2, 3, and 4, really have to be hardy soul fragments because the living ain't easy at all for those people. And in fact, um, I I died of congestive heart failure a number of years ago on timelines 1 and 2. So I'm gone. Tom left the building on those two timelines.
No, that's not bad though.
Yeah.
Now, can you feel, so timeline 6 we're in, can you feel timelines 1 to 5 or even 7 to, how
Yeah,
many did you say?
we even cross timelines at times with timeline 7 or timeline 5.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for experiences that our souls want to see how the same experience is handled by a little upper timeline and a little lower timeline. So every once in a while, these timelines will cross. It could be for just a month or
Mm-hmm.
6 months, but they're not crossed right now. And so, although sometimes it seems like we're crossed with timelines one and
I was thinking we have crossed timelines in the last 4 or 5 months.
yeah,
It seems like certainly during the summer, something seemed to happen.
yeah.
And then the last week, not only the election, but for everybody, major things are going on.
Mhm.
But I also wanted to ask too, when we cross timelines, do we feel a different density? Is there a different density?
Yeah, I mean the frequency is either higher or lower, and so I'm quite sure the timelines are broken up into fours. So you got timelines 1 to 4, 5 through 8, and then 9 to 12,
Hmm.
and then they're subdivided into twos, timelines 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and so on. So there's bigger jumps in between the twos, and then much larger jumps between the fours. So it just all depends where you are and what frequency you're at.
And they go on at the same time. So
Yeah,
right now, all my other timelines are going on.
exactly. And and they're and a lot of times you can visit them in your dreams. So you may dream something that seems very peaceful and very nice. Well, maybe
Yeah.
you're visiting timeline 9 or 10 or something.
Yeah.
And other times you're just having a really difficult time, and maybe you're you're looking in on a lower timeline. So you're in dreams, you dream not only about past, present, and future lives, but you also dream about parallel lives. And you even dream, we're known as the great problem solvers of the universe. And so there are, uh, our souls are having typically 500,000 to a million lives going on across the universe for their learning. And I just learned this in the last year, I think,
Hmm.
that I thought, well, we're known as the great problem solvers, and somehow we're just taken across the universe to help somebody solve a problem. Well, it turns out it's more likely than not, probably 90 something percent, it's one of the other uh, lives that our soul is having in a different part of the universe for its learning, and it needs a little help. So it said, "Oh, let's call on good old Tom to go see if he can help solve that problem
So
for the other soul."
Tom on timeline number two, let's say, can Tom pull in timeline number 10? Say, help me.
um, I guess, but um, you know, that's that's something I haven't really explored,
Yeah.
that question. So
Hmm. And do we know, like, while we're awake, do we change timelines at all? Do we
no,
slip in and out? We're
no,
solidly in our own timeline.
solid, yes.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good thing, I think. That
And
would make us
your
crazy.
next life on Earth, you'll be again timeline 6.
So I will move up or I'll stay the same
You'll
timeline.
stay the same timeline
Right.
because when you think about it, you have done good things in this life, and maybe you've done bad things.
Hmm.
So um, you have to balance the good and the bad. So you can't be timeline 6 in this life and then timeline 5 in the next life. You've
Yeah,
got
I
to stay
see.
on your own timeline to balance what you've done in this life.
So you never graduate to another timeline?
No, I was kind of
Yeah.
hoping, and
Yeah.
naturally, I've had that question, but
Right.
you stay on your own timeline. Your soul fragment does.
Does my lifespan in this timeline, is it the same as the lifespan in timeline one or a different
No,
time?
as I
They
pointed
are
out, I'm
different?
already dead in timelines 1 and
Oh,
2.
that's right. You did say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Because I want to live long here, but I wouldn't want to live long in timeline one.
yeah, tell
I
me.
know. So, and then like timeline one and two, where you've already expired and gone on, are you just in a holding pattern on a different
You go
level?
directly back to your soul.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And so you just kind of join with your soul. Remember, there's no time on the other side.
Right.
Kind of hard for us to understand that,
Yeah, to have the
but it's
concept.
it's just a blip in time before all the other timeline use transition and back
Hmm.
to, back to your soul.
Timeline one will use them when so in your case, timeline one and two has already gone back to its soul.
Yeah.
Um, they're then aware of all the other timelines, or it just kind of isn't like that.
Oh,
Or nobody
I think
cares on that side.
certainly when you're back with your soul, you have full knowledge
Hmm.
of everything. But um, and perhaps in that you know second of time, you're already on to your next life. And when we
Oh, wow.
transition, it'll be just a second in time till we're on to the next life too.
Yeah. That was my other question too. So do they hold and have to wait for all of the timelines to come back before?
Again,
Yeah.
there's no time. So
Yeah. It's
it's kind
hard
of
a
hard for us
concept to
to
have.
understand because time, I've been told over and over, and it's hard for us to understand, but time is a construct of this Earth experiment.
Yeah.
So all of our lives on Earth are actually going on at the same time, every single life. And typically a person will have 600 to 800 lives on Earth. Well, I know my next, but they're as creator has told me, creator said this is a dynamic experiment. So it's changing all the time. So our life affects all of our other lives on Earth, and all of
Mhm.
our other lives affect our life. And so it's very, very dynamic. So I do know that, like in my next life on Earth, is going to be in the 3400 era, and I'm going to be a woman space pilot of one of 17 Earth starships. There are going to be 17 at that time,
Hmm.
and um, uh, and so I'm already out visiting other planets. But
Yeah, wow. Talking about the timelines
yeah,
and your future timeline. So
yes,
in the future timeline, you'll be coming in as timeline. What are we now? Five or six?
six.
A six. So you'll be coming in as timeline six, and this is the information you've been given.
Yeah.
What about timeline one? Doesn't timeline one says, I don't want to do it? I feel bad for timeline one.
Well, they don't know any better for one. And, as I say, supposedly that soul fragment is very hardy. That's a timeline one or timeline two. They have to
Yeah.
be, they're hardier soul fragments than timeline six that we're
Yeah.
on. So,
And a lot harder than timeline 12.
so, but we're, yeah,
Timeline
well,
12 actually comes in.
timeline 12 is so easy that it's
Yeah.
non-physical. They don't
Oh,
even have to be physical.
I
So
wondered
that's
about that.
considered the perfect life on Earth. And so it's non-physical and all of our other lives, timelines 1 through 11, are measured against that life uh, to see what the differences are
Mhm.
between timelines. So,
Now, in your meditations, because you've gotten so good at this, can you visit the other timelines?
um, in my dreams,
Yeah.
but I don't, um, uh, in meditation, I'll ask to speak to different people.
Hmm.
This morning, gosh, I think it was like six different entities that I was asking questions. Um, Cat Soul had a question. Um, let's see, who else?
Yeah, take a look at some of those questions.
Well, we're going to cover the election in a second. Uh,
Yeah.
but Cat Soul, the king and queen of the fairies,
Hmm.
I had a question for. Questions for my guardian angel Theo,
Hmm.
and then Antura, my brother from another planet. I was asking him about the backside of the moon, backside of the moon base,
Hmm.
and, and so and Gaia, the soul of the earth and
Right.
creator. Uh, so that was like six,
Yeah.
and you can just jump from one to the next. It's up to you. Um,
Hmm.
who you want to speak to. They're all willing to speak to you in love. Okay,
Right.
you have to keep that in mind. They they do this out of love. Creator loves you dearly. Creator keeps telling me over and over again, I don't have it right here, but you can read it in my newsletters. Uh,
Hmm.
Creator says that in the future, every single person on earth will meditate and will communicate with Creator. Creator says, I can have trillions of communications going on at the same time. These communications can be as simple as speaking, but keep in mind, he communicates with beings, beings, um, you know, uh, fish, you name it. The creator can communicate with every being in the universe. So uh, feel
Hmm.
free. He said he'll answer even the most trivial questions you have because out of love.
It now, if I go into that meditation, because I know in the past we've talked about Theo and Altura and how personal they are to you.
Hmm.
Would I have my own personal, or would I be talking to Theo and Altura?
Uh, okay, you'll have your own guardian angel. Okay.
Hmm.
There are about a little over 1 million golden light beings that we call guardian angels. These golden light beings are really old souls that
Hmm.
have raised their vibrational levels over eons of time to the point where they glow a golden light. And so they're
Hmm.
called golden light beings. But but these are truly ancient souls, and and they volunteered to help us in our lives on earth because Creator knew we would need lots of help because we are veiled from knowing that we come from other planets, and we're veiled in order um, to work on this Earth experiment.
Right.
So you probably have your own one, although I know Theo takes he handles well over probably 100,000 souls, and each of
Hmm.
those souls are have anywhere from 6 to 12 soul fragments, having 600 to 800 lives going on Earth at the same time with 12 parallel lives each. So they're busy guys, but
Busy,
they
we're exhausted.
yeah they have the ability to do that. So it's
Now, I could
gonna
actually have Theo,
you could.
but not, I would maybe not know him as Theo. I might know him as who I need him to
Theo,
know him as.
I said, Guardian Angel, what name shall I call you? And he said, Oh, Tom, he said, we're not real big on names over here, and humans don't have the vocal cords to pronounce
Oh,
angelic names. So you
yeah.
can call me Tom, Dick, or Harry, but Tom will kind of get in the way of your meditation. So
Yeah, yeah,
talked
yeah.
for a couple of weeks, and Theo popped in my mind, and so I found out several years later that I've called him Theo in other lives too.
Hmm. Oh, I see. So I could actually have Theo, but to me, Theo is a different name.
Well, you could ask, say, are you the same guardian angel for Tom? And they'd tell
Yeah,
you yes or no. And
yeah. So what was he telling you this morning?
oh, well, let's go over, I guess, the election. Everybody,
Hmm. Right.
okay, Gaia, the elephant in the room. Why did and it seems every telepath had Harris winning? What happened? Our speculation was that we dropped to a lower timeline. Gaia says, certainly it was partly due to your own recognition that would be the most gentle path. But this path also has a lot of uh, this other path talking about has a lot of learning and will result eventually in the raising of all your vibrational levels. Just as you guessed from the way I answered you before, a large number of first, second, and early third quad young souls chose what appears to them as a strong leader who will help them in their daily lives. That was the greatest promise they latched onto. You can call it smoke and mirrors since the tariffs will make things harder and will limit what they can buy. Again, all lessons to be learned by these younger souls. Had this election taken place in, say, 10 years or more in the future, there might have been a different outcome. You did not drop down to a lower timeline. You, as a nation, simply chose a path with higher learning and lessons. We can only give you probabilities. Your souls decided to choose a path with more lessons to be learned. So there was no skullduggery, only a tiny bit, not enough to sway an election. And it was on both sides. What can we expect from the 2025 plan? Only parts will be implemented. There will be great resistance. Then in the next session, Guy, I can assure my readers that there was no mass tampering with voting machines. That is absolutely correct, Tom. No mass tampering. As I said yesterday, only tiny bits, and that was on both sides. And yes, those people will have to balance their actions sometime in the future, in this life or a future one. Guy, please help me explain the solo contracts at play. On one hand, I was told they are set seemingly in stone over 1 million years ago, and on the other, they can change due to probabilities. Yes, seemingly a contradiction. Before these lives on earth, there had to be an allowance for free will. Therefore, there are millions of times when your souls knew there would be choices to go down one path or another. In this case, had Vice President Harris won, the soul contracts of those that had aligned themselves with the Republicans would have their soul contracts delayed until the next administration. But now those young souls are being thrust into the limelight and must make decisions according to their beliefs. Some will work fine, and others will come with a heavy price of learning that what they thought would work does not in the real world. These actions will also affect all those who believed in these administrators. Your souls believe there is great learning here, resulting in a raising of vibrational levels. Don't forget that you can always say benevolent prayers for these young souls to govern in the best interest of not only the people of the United States, but also the world and all living beings. That
Hmm.
was a lot of words.
That was. So in bringing in the timelines with this. Is there any chance you and I are sitting here in timeline 6 and within our life, there are people here with timeline 3 that like it harder or something?
No, no, no. We don't remember these are different frequencies.
Hmm.
You have to imagine
So
timeline
everybody
three is this
here.
frequency, and but if you can imagine, there are 12 Earths,
Uh,
12 Earths. And so we only see the timeline 6 version of Earth. We don't
okay.
see the timeline 3 version of Earth.
I'm thinking timeline 3 might have voted the way they voted. That's what I was wondering. And how is it that no psychic saw it? No astrologer didn't. I'm sure one or two did, but
Yeah,
mostly.
one or two. I got an email from a lady that did tarot cards, and she said she had Trump winning.
Yeah. See,
You know,
everybody I talk to, everybody, tarot, astrology, psychics, everybody saw Harris winning.
yeah,
Our
that was
female
that
winning.
was an
Yeah.
easier path, and we as a body of people chose a harder path.
Yeah. Did they say how long it will be?
Well,
Yeah.
and if you know, it said they're going to try and implement 2025, but only parts. There will be great resistance.
Yeah,
So,
thank God. And they didn't tell you which parts.
no.
I know. It's like, oh my God. Um, I Nostradamus, I was told this because I'm not intelligent enough to figure him out, you know. But Nostradamus, people who follow him have told me that Trump will be our last president. Is the United States as a democracy over? Did you
I got
ask?
told that. I'm sorry.
You,
I was told that in a life 44 lives down, okay, I'm having an overlapping life as a
Mhm.
woman working in the Pentagon. And
Mhm.
in 2032 or three, whatever it is, there's going to be a woman president elected. And it could be maybe she'll be elected, after this 4 years. I don't know. But
Right.
um, that I in that woman life, 44 lives down, will become one of her top advisors to that president. And I do know after that, I've got, you know, two or three more lives as advisors to presidents. So
So there are going to be presidents.
there's going to be presidents.
Thank God. And in the United States or America, or I'm
Yeah.
not even sure anymore. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So in a way, we're going to go in, this is the other way I want to look at it. I have to admit that I was not able to psychically look at it because I'm not neutral enough.
Mm.
So I haven't gotten there. I did sit down and start to talk to George Washington. And his thing was, wow, we made it further than I thought. That was the thing. Oh, wow, we made it further than I thought. So, that's how we started off. And then I wasn't able to continue. It was just, I wasn't in a protected spot, is what it
Right.
came down to. But
Yeah.
anyway, and he was happy, which is weird. Um, hmm.
Well, we've got learning. Sometimes you have to go through the harder to get to the better. And
Right. And that's kind of what I wondered. Again, not a psychic look, that are we going to go to a painful spot
yeah.
to
And keep
push
in
us
mind,
forward?
I've been told over and over again that because we got up to 7 billion people, it was all hands on deck. Now, I didn't understand, excuse me, um, that statement at the time,
Hmm.
but um, it meant that each of our souls were having to have multiple lives in the same century. So as an example, I know I've had a life as a young German um, uh, warrior, not warrior, but soldier in the trenches that was killed early in the war. I was a young Jewish girl who was killed with her parents by a German kill squad in the early part um, of the Second World War. I just recently found out that I was a woman working in Churchill and the war rooms underneath London, and was psychically advising not only him but military leaders because I could tell them how large the German units were, where they were going, things like that. So I that was a life that I just discovered recently, and I
Hmm.
wound up uh, being promoted to an officer, and then after the war, an officer that I married, we moved to a small English village to live out the rest of our lives. And but we couldn't talk about what we did in the war at all due to the uh, Secrets Act.
Yeah.
And also I know future lives. I'm going to have one um, as Queen Menon, the wife of Haile Selassie. That's still a future life because that was the start of of the religion in Jamaica, and also I'm going to be Sarah Northrop, the wife of L. Ron Hubbard, and we're going to write the Scientology book, which will be softer and easier than it is now,
Mhm.
because again, we change these lives as we live them. And then I've got another life that I'm trying to work on, but Theo tells me I'm not receiving very well on that one yet. So I'll uh, have to go back to it in a week or two and work on it again. So we have all these lives, they're overlapping, but they don't start at the same time. So as an
Mhm.
example, that overlapping life in the Pentagon, that's 44 lives down. But it just so happens that she's living at the same time I am.
Do you like being female better than male?
I don't know if it's because um, you have 50-50 lives. Now, I'm told that. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, is it because um, being a woman, I can work my way up? I don't know. Sleep my way to the top. I don't know. But
That is more fun.
yeah, I do know that Sarah Northrup supposedly lost her virginity at 10.
Oh
So
my God.
there you go.
Yeah, wow.
So
That's a little rough just physically.
yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
So, but that's what I read a report that she said that.
Hmm.
And Queen Menon had 10 kids, only three of which uh, uh, survived her.
Wow. That's a tough
So
thing. Yeah.
um, and I'm saying 10, golly, you
I
know,
come from a family of 9 kids. My mother loved it. She
yeah,
said she felt better pregnant than any other time.
yeah,
I know. If she could have kept going, she would have. To her last baby, she was 47. And this is before, IVF and
yeah,
all that.
yes.
Yeah, no, she loved it. But is there a time that we actually graduate out of these timelines in the Earth plane? Or can we choose not to do it anymore?
No, you're in, when our souls volunteered for the Earth experiment, it, you're having all of these lives all at the same time.
Hmm.
That's hard for us to understand. For us, it looks like vertical, one life
Yeah, it's hard
after
for us
another.
to
Yeah,
conceive.
but
Yeah.
it's not. They're all happening at the same time. And so basically, um, the Earth experiment is going to be over in 7,000 years.
Hmm.
And by then, everyone will have returned back, have finished all the lives on Earth, and will return back to their home planets to introduce more negativity, this negative energy that helps people raise their vibrational levels. And and I'm told that my last life on Earth will be in charge of the cleanup squad. Sounds apropos for me, I guess. Um, and there'll be only like 120 or so of us, and we'll be on different continents. And by that time, we will have the ability, because we'll be at like 5.6, 5.7 vibrational level, that we can create and uncreate. And so we will return Earth back to its pristine beauty from a million years ago, whatever. And Earth will become a tourist spot for not only people all over this universe, but other universes as well, because when they come to Earth, there will still be just a little bit of negativity. It would be like if any of your listeners out there have been to Sedona, going to one of the vortexes and sitting in there and feeling this energy. supposedly there, I don't know if it'll be that strong or just this light negative energy that and it will even help them raise their vibrational levels just from visiting Earth. So,
Mhm. Oh, so they're going to choose to go to a place that's not so much fun, but they'll benefit from.
well, it's going to be fun for them because
Yeah.
it'll be pristine. I mean, they'll
Oh,
have all
okay.
these animals and uh, flora, flora, I think. I messed up that recently, and somebody sent me an email, and Tom, it's not fauna, it's flora. Okay.
Wow, I wouldn't have picked up on that. Wow.
So, so both Lane and I missed on that one, but
Yeah. So
yeah,
when we're done, in 7,000 years, when we're done and we return to our original planets, our original spaces, will it have done anything for us? Are we different in any way from other beings for having done the Earth experiment?
I guess I'm not understanding.
So let's say, we came here and we ran through this density and this stupidness.
Hmm.
As you said, putting the veil between us and knowledge, to be here.
Hmm.
But when we go back, when the Earth experiment is over,
Right.
does that make us a more expanded soul than maybe people who have not done it? I guess I'm looking for a hierarchy now that I
Well,
think about it.
by undergoing this negative energy, it raises our vibe. We've been told that our souls were told by Creator that by taking part in this experiment, it would fast track the raising of our vibrational levels.
Okay.
Okay, and even to take part in the experiment, uh, your soul had to have reached a certain vibrational level to even qualify to take part in the experiment.
Hmm.
So we were already the Johnny, the
That
hot Johnnies, uh, or the guys that were at the head of the class,
that's
so to
what I'm
speak.
thinking. So we are special. I
Yeah,
thought,
we
okay, I'm here
so
and there's excuse me,
and
there's ego.
also, we've been promised that in a few million years, our souls, because we're not going to just rest with just having taken part in the Earth experiment, we're going to continue, and at some time in the future, Creator is going to turn over the universe to us. We're all going to meld into a Creator, and
Mm,
this is the first time it's ever been done in the trillions of other universes. We're going to become a creator and we're going to take over running this universe when creator feels that we can handle the job.
wow, we're
So,
certainly not there yet.
no, a long way to go.
Yeah, yeah, I don't think we're up for it right now. Um, because
But
we only,
also keep in mind, before we had these lives on Earth, these 600, 800 lives on average, except for stupid people like me. I'm on 1,005, and I got 300 more to go. Um,
you had a few repeats, huh?
no repeats.
Remedial
Just
lifetimes.
everybody wants me as an advisor
Mm,
after I help settle the Star Wars. So everybody thinks that I should be with them when they're running a country. So
yeah.
anyway,
I'm
before
glad you're doing it, not me. Let me put it that
yeah,
way.
well, Theo was the very first golden uh, golden light angel, golden light
Mhm.
being. There we go. Um, to volunteer to assist us, and he immediately saw me and said, "This guy is going to need a lot of help." So he chose me as one of his very first souls to help.
Wow.
And
So he cut his teeth on you in a way.
yeah, right. Oh
Whoa.
boy, I got
Yeah.
something to work on with this guy, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
And
yeah.
but before, before I came here on Nomo, this water planet where it was an spiritual leader uh, for amphibians. I'd had over 100,000 lives, and
Wow.
so all of us probably have had that many on other planets before, uh, and that's how we were able to raise our vibrational levels.
Mm, geez. I'm feeling very low vibrationally. We only have a few minutes, and I want to talk about Gaia and the winter weather forecast. You did
Um,
ask in your meditations.
yeah, basic summary would be Pacific Northwest with obviously a lot more rain, snow. Um, Down the California coast, fairly dry with, periods of some rain. Southwest drier.
Hmm.
Plain states uh, are are going to be hit with some pretty heavy rain and snow events, as you've already seen
Oh,
on
yeah, we just
every
had a
side of the
3-day
Rockies.
snowstorm. Yeah,
Yeah, and which was quite unique for you guys.
it was.
And
Yeah.
Texas is supposed to be um, a drier this winter than normal, but we and even the Gulf states are going to have times where even we'll have snow. So it all depends on how far down these uh, things go. Then the East Coast will be uh, stormy at times, and the Northeast, the Gaia said they need to get prepared for a really hard winter.
Oh, geez, because I'm going to spend some time on the East Coast.
Mm,
Yeah, I know. They've gotten away with pretty mild winters in the last couple of years.
yep.
Milder than here in Denver anyway.
They, yeah, Gaia said
Yeah.
stock up.
Oh, okay. I'll tell them. I'll keep that in
Okay.
mind. You also took a look at the backside of the moon, and we
Yes.
mentioned that a little bit at the beginning. It might have been right before we came on. What did
Right.
you see there?
Um, the reason I started asking about it, I maybe even years ago, I'd ask a couple of questions, and was told that the backside of the moon base, which is run by ETs, only has a skeleton staff now.
Hmm.
But at one point, it was pretty busy, and then uh, Dr. Greer had an interview, and you can probably find it if you go to well, there are a couple of ways that you'll be able to find it. You go to Facebook and follow me at Tom T. Moore author. Um, you can scroll down and find this interview that they did with this guy that used years ago. I mean, we're talking about 60s,
Hmm.
was working with a highly secret clearance. He was just an enlisted man, but he was, working with this stuff, and another enlisted man uh, needed somebody to talk to because he was the only guy seeing this, seeing this stuff, which they were airbrushing out of photos from the Apollo missions that went around the moon.
Hmm.
They airbrush out this base, and he said, even at that time in the '60s, we could read a license plate,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
that's how good our photographic equipment was.
Hmm.
And so he said there were these tall towers that were like half a mile tall. And so I asked, what they were used for, and I was told it was sort of like um, towers to uh, you know to get information on these negative energies and things. It was scientific in nature.
Yeah.
Um, and I asked, well, um, how many ETs? And I was told, at first I was told, and this time, and I'm talking about the latest time I've asked, there were 1,000 maximum, even though
Hmm.
it's a skeleton staff. And I said, Antura, is that a figure that you're giving me uh, spoon feeding? And he said, yes. And I said, what's the actual? Because I'm having the catching, you know.
I was
At,
thinking you've told me that before with him. He's a
yes.
little,
He
yeah.
wants to make sure nobody gets frightened.
Oh,
And so he said, well, it's actually, a couple 3,000
yeah.
and at its maximum, but it's only a skeleton staff now. So that's, we will be able to hopefully visit that and take lots of pictures and photos, and we'll we'll see. But
Mhm.
there is this massive base on the backside of the moon that they've been airbrushing out photos for years.
Do you think it'll come up in Wednesday's hearings?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I
Well, we'll
have no
find
idea.
out, right?
Yeah, Uh, they got some really good people. They're going to be testifying, so I hope they come up with some really,
Oh, I just hope they're honest and let it go. Give it up. Try not
yeah,
to,
and
you
that they're
know.
protected
Yeah. Yeah.
because a lot of them have been literally threatened with death if
Oh,
they
geez.
testify. So
Yeah. Let's
you
hope we've
can
gotten
understand
past
they'd be
all of
scared
that.
to death, and even their families have been threatened.
Oh,
So
that's horrible, isn't it? It's terrible.
yep,
I hate to say it. On that note, we have to end. What a
yes,
terrible
what?
one to end on. On that note, we have to end the show.
Oh, great.
I know. I
Gee,
know.
thanks.
Give me a good thing. Give
Give me
me
a
a good
up,
thing.
up, up, up.
I know.
There, there must be there must be something. But um, I would like to remind everyone you can subscribe to my free weekly newsletter. It's uh, you can go to www.thegentlewaybook.com, and on the very first page, there's a box. All you do is fill out the box with your email and send it to me. And uh, then there's a confirmation that comes and says, did you really sign up? And you just say, yep. And that's all you have to do. I also on that same website, you can go to articles and news, and that's where all my 900 free weekly newsletters are archived, and you can do searches to your heart's content. It's a lot of reading because
Yeah.
most newsletters are anywhere from 10 to 13 pages long.
Hmm. Hmm. And not to forget about your Gentle Way books because
Yes.
they are fabulous. They are
And
fabulous.
and here,
Oh yeah, Alanis and
oops,
Lamora,
oh,
and
oh,
well, on that one, I love that one. We had a show on that, and we have
yeah,
that archived. You can go watch or
there's the
listen.
gentle way. Sorry,
Yeah, the
picked up on
Genaway
my mic.
books. Yeah,
But we
that
have
that
Alanis and
Alanis
Lemire,
and
and
Lamora.
that goes back to the start of the Earth experiment. So
Mm-hmm.
read
Right.
a whole lot more about that. And I do have a new book coming out in mid 2025
Oh, good.
called Conversations with Gaia. Just signed the contract 2 or 3 weeks ago, and
Great.
uh,
When
we're
you're ready, come on, and we'll talk about that too.
yeah, they're proofreading it as we speak.
Oh, good. That's fabulous. Tom, thanks so much for being on. I love to have you, and I so appreciate that you will give me the time to come on and tell me what's up. I
Great.
appreciate it. Thanks so
Take care.
much. Bye bye.